Accountability in government is one of the most important principles of a healthy and functioning democracy. When citizens elect leaders, they are placing trust in those individuals to represent their interests, make fair decisions, and follow the laws and ethical standards expected of public officials. Accountability means that those who hold power must answer for their actions, decisions, and behavior. It ensures that leaders cannot misuse authority without facing consequences. Without accountability, the relationship between the government and the public becomes weak, and confidence in democratic institutions begins to decline. In democratic systems, accountability works through several mechanisms. Elections are one of the most visible forms of accountability because they allow citizens to reward or punish leaders based on their performance. If politicians fail to meet expectations or engage in misconduct, voters have the power to remove them from office during the next election. However, elections alone are not enough. Governments also rely on oversight bodies, ethics committees, investigative journalism, and independent courts to examine the behavior of public officials. These institutions help ensure that leaders follow the law and that misconduct is properly investigated. Another important aspect of accountability is transparency. Transparency allows the public to see how decisions are made and how officials behave while in office. When government actions are open to public scrutiny, it becomes harder for corruption, abuse of power, or unethical behavior to remain hidden. Transparency also encourages responsible decision-making because leaders know that their actions may be examined by the public, the media, and oversight agencies. This openness strengthens democratic systems by making leaders more careful, responsible, and responsive to citizens. Accountability is especially critical when serious allegations arise, such as corruption, abuse of power, or sexual harassment. In these situations, governments must demonstrate that no one is above the law, regardless of their position or influence. If investigations are blocked or ignored, it sends a harmful message that powerful individuals may avoid consequences for their actions. This can damage the credibility of government institutions and create frustration among citizens who expect fairness and justice. Furthermore, accountability helps protect individuals within government workplaces, including staff members and employees who may be vulnerable to mistreatment. Clear rules, reporting systems, and independent investigations are necessary to ensure that employees feel safe and respected. When institutions fail to address misconduct properly, it discourages victims from speaking out and may allow harmful behavior to continue. Strong accountability systems also encourage ethical leadership. Leaders who understand that they will be held responsible for their decisions are more likely to act with integrity and consider the long-term impact of their actions. They recognize that public office is not simply a position of power, but a responsibility to serve the public honestly and fairly. In the end, accountability in government strengthens democracy by promoting integrity, fairness, and public trust. When leaders accept responsibility for their actions and institutions enforce ethical standards, citizens can feel confident that their government is working in their best interest. Transparency and public trust are two of the most essential foundations of any democratic system. In a democracy, citizens give power to their elected representatives with the expectation that those leaders will act honestly, responsibly, and in the best interest of the public. Transparency refers to openness in decision-making, policies, and investigations carried out by government institutions. When government actions are transparent, people are able to see how decisions are made, how resources are used, and how leaders respond to serious issues such as misconduct or abuse of power. This openness allows citizens to evaluate whether their representatives are acting ethically and fulfilling their duties properly. Public trust develops when people believe that their institutions are fair, accountable, and willing to correct mistakes. Trust is not built automatically. It grows when governments consistently demonstrate integrity and honesty in their actions. When allegations of wrongdoing arise, such as cases of harassment or misconduct within government institutions, the public expects leaders to address the matter seriously and without favoritism. If investigations are conducted openly and fairly, citizens are more likely to believe that justice is being served and that no one is above the law. However, when investigations appear to be hidden, delayed, or blocked, people may begin to question whether the system is protecting powerful individuals instead of protecting victims and the public interest. Transparency is particularly important in modern societies where information spreads quickly and citizens are more engaged in political discussions. In the digital age, people have access to news, social media, and public records that allow them to follow government actions more closely than ever before. Because of this increased awareness, governments must be even more committed to openness. When officials communicate clearly about investigations, policies, and decisions, they reduce rumors, misinformation, and public suspicion. Clear communication helps citizens understand what is happening and why certain decisions are made. Another important aspect of transparency is accountability. When government institutions operate openly, it becomes easier to hold leaders responsible for their actions. Oversight bodies, journalists, and the public can examine whether laws and ethical standards are being followed. This process encourages better behavior from officials because they know their actions are being watched and evaluated. Accountability strengthens democratic institutions by ensuring that power is used responsibly and that mistakes or misconduct are addressed rather than ignored. On the other hand, a lack of transparency can seriously damage public trust. When people feel that leaders are hiding information or avoiding investigations, they may lose confidence in the fairness of the system. This loss of trust can lead to political frustration, decreased civic participation, and greater divisions within society. Citizens may begin to believe that political institutions serve only the interests of those in power rather than the needs of the public. For these reasons, transparency and public trust are closely connected. Open processes, honest communication, and fair investigations help maintain confidence in democratic institutions. When leaders commit to transparency, they strengthen the relationship between government and citizens and help ensure that democracy remains accountable, responsible, and worthy of the public's trust. The role of whistleblowers and critics is an important element in maintaining accountability and transparency in democratic institutions. In any system of governance, especially in large political bodies such as legislatures, there is always a risk that power can be misused or that serious issues may remain hidden from the public. Whistleblowers and critics serve as a necessary safeguard against these risks by raising concerns, questioning decisions, and encouraging institutions to correct their mistakes. Their actions can help expose unethical behavior, administrative failures, or policies that may harm individuals or undermine public trust. In democratic societies, criticism of government institutions is not only accepted but also considered a healthy and necessary practice. Lawmakers, journalists, civil society organizations, and even ordinary citizens can play the role of critics when they identify problems within a system. By speaking publicly about these concerns, they encourage open discussion and push institutions to review their policies and practices. This process strengthens democracy because it ensures that no organization, no matter how powerful, operates without oversight or public scrutiny. Whistleblowers are individuals who bring attention to wrongdoing or unethical practices from within an organization. In many cases, they are employees or insiders who witness misconduct directly. Their willingness to speak out can be crucial in situations where problems might otherwise remain hidden. For example, when allegations of misconduct, such as harassment, corruption, or abuse of authority occur within powerful institutions, whistleblowers may be the first people to reveal the issue. Their information can lead to investigations, reforms, and improved protections for others. However, the role of whistleblowers and critics can be challenging and sometimes controversial. Individuals who speak out may face criticism, political opposition, or professional risks. In political environments, where debates are often highly polarized, critics may be accused of acting for political gain rather than for the public good. Despite these challenges, many experts argue that protecting the rights of whistleblowers and encouraging open criticism is essential for maintaining ethical standards in government. Another important aspect of this role is the encouragement of transparency. When critics question decisions or demand investigations into allegations, they often push institutions to release more information to the public. Transparency helps citizens understand how decisions are made and whether leaders are acting responsibly. Without such scrutiny, important issues might remain hidden, allowing problems to grow and potentially damage public confidence in government institutions. Furthermore, the presence of whistleblowers and critics can lead to long-term institutional improvements. When problems are identified and addressed, organizations may adopt stronger policies, clearer reporting systems, and better safeguards to prevent similar issues from happening again. These reforms not only resolve immediate concerns, but also help build stronger and more trustworthy institutions in the future. In this way, whistleblowers and critics play a vital role in democratic governance. By raising concerns, encouraging debate, and demanding accountability, they contribute to the ongoing effort to ensure that institutions remain transparent, ethical, and responsive to the people they serve.